Just days after Starlink was launched in Ukraine, SpaceX chief executive Elon Musk warned that there is a strong possibility that the Starlink satellite broadband service will be targeted in Ukraine, attacked by Russian attacks. Earlier, cybersecurity expert John Scott Railton had warned that satellite communications could become skyrocketing. Russia could direct airstrikes. Hello and welcome to Elon Musk Trending. If you're a Musk fan and don't want to miss anything about this incredible person, then smack the subscribe button and hit the bell icon so that you will be notified whenever a new video is uploaded. In this video, we will talk about Starlink and how Elon Musk will be going to stop Russia. Elon Musk took to Twitter to announce an important warning. Starlink is the only non-Russian communication system still operating in some parts of Ukraine, so the chances of you being pointed the way are high. Please use caution. Musk urged users to open the Starlink only if necessary and keep the antenna tree away from people, and put a light cover over it to avoid being seen. Just last week, researcher John Scott Railton shared on Twitter, when Putin controls the upper atmosphere of Ukraine, uplink sending to users becomes beacons due to airstrikes. He explained, Russia has decades of experience in cracking down on satellite communications. In 1996, Chechen President Jokhar Dudayev was cautious, but Russian planes reportedly found his phone and killed him with a shotgun. Meanwhile, on Saturday, Musk said Starlink operated in Ukraine and SpaceX was sending more channels to the country in response to a tweet from a Ukrainian government official requesting Musk to provide a war-torn country with Starlink channels. On Monday, Ukraine said it had received Starlink satellite internet terminals, but an online security researcher warned that these could be Russian targets. Ukrainian Deputy Prime Minister Mikhailo Fedorov thanked Starlink for keeping our cities connected and for emergency services saving lives, but he has said the country needed generators to keep the Starlink service online due to attacks on Russian infrastructure. In response, Musk said SpaceX was updating the software to reduce high power consumption so Starlink could be powered by car cigarette holders. Mobile navigation is turned on so a segmented system antenna can store the signal while traveling in a car, he said. Tim Ferrer, a satellite communications consultant, said Starlink antennas, which look like home television sets, were not designed for use while moving, and it was unclear what Musk meant by the tweet. Russia and Ukraine have agreed to suspend humanitarian aid and to suspend arms embargoes for evacuation, with both sides staying after talks Thursday, their first sign of progress on any issue since the Moscow attack, which Moscow calls special to work. How powerful Starlink is? Users can expect to see data speeds vary from 50 to 150 megabits per second and latency from 20 to 40 milliseconds in most locations over the next several months, Starlink's website says, while also warning of brief periods of no connectivity at all. As we launch more satellites, install more ground stations, and improve our networking software, data speed, latency, and uptime will improve dramatically. To that end, Musk tweeted in February of last year that he expects the service to double its top speed to 300 megabytes per second by the end of 2021. Now in 2022, claims like those are difficult to evaluate, as speeds will vary depending on time and location. Ukraine has gained access to satellite internet. We tell you how it works and why it can be dangerous for residents of the country. It is currently unknown who exactly will receive the terminals, but most likely the government and the military will use them first. Starlink can also help Ukraine a lot in case of possible problems with internet access. Due to the invasion of Russia, a batch of Starlink terminals arrived in Ukraine after the country's Minister of Digital Transformation asked for help from Elon Musk about connecting the country to the satellite internet. After the start of the military operation in Ukraine, there are problems with access to the network in many localities of the country. One of the solutions is to use the Starlink satellite internet, the operator of which is Elon Musk's company SpaceX. And this is exactly what the Minister of Digital Transformation of Ukraine, Mikhail Fedorov, asked Musk on B. John Scott Railton, senior researcher at the University of Toronto Citizen Lab project. However, warned that the terminals could become targets of the Russian armed forces. It is worth noting that such grounds are groundless if the satellite internet is used exclusively for civilian purposes and not military, because the Russian army, according to their statement, is targeting only military facilities, trying not to cause damage to civilians. However, some experts suggest that with the help of signals from terminals, domestic troops can triangulate the signal and calculate the location of the desired objects with their subsequent attack. We emphasize once again that there is no evidence of such a possibility, and the Russian army does not touch the citizens of Ukraine. Although there are a lot of frames on the network proving the opposite, how does Starlink work? The terminals look like home satellite TV dishes, and can provide relatively fast internet. By residential standards, this is achieved by connecting to satellites in low Earth orbit. There are already Starlink satellites in several orbits around the Earth launched there. With the help of SpaceX rockets, the American company plans to expand its satellite network shortly to ensure uninterrupted internet connection from anywhere in the world. On February 25, 2022, SpaceX announced the successful launch into Earth orbit of the next batch of 50 mini satellites of the global internet network Starlink. This satellite withdrawal was already the 39th since May 2019. Currently, the orbital constellation of SpaceX satellites consists of almost 2,000 spacecraft. Thereby, Elon Musk company has become the largest satellite operator in the world. According to Wikipedia, Starlink is a global satellite system deployed by SpaceX to provide high-speed broadband satellite internet access in places where it was unreliable, expensive, or completely inaccessible. On February 26th, American inventor, engineer, and billionaire Elon Musk responded to the head of a Roscosmos, Dmitry Rogozin, to his message about Alzheimer's sanctions and to question of who will save the ISS from an uncontrolled descent from orbit after the introduction of restrictions on the Russian space industry. One of the messages that Rogerson voiced on his Twitter concerned the future security of the International Comic Station. Do you want to destroy our cooperation on the ISS? So you're already doing this by limiting exchanges between our cosmonaut and astronaut training centers, or do you want to manage the ISS yourself? Maybe President Biden is not in the subject, so explain to him at the correction of the station's orbit its avoidance of dangerous approaches to space debris with which your talented businessmen have dirted. The near-Earth orbit is carried out exclusively by the engines of Russian Progress Mississippi cargo ships. If you block cooperation with us, who will save the ISS from an uncontrolled descent from orbit and falling into the territory of the U.S.? Or, wrote the head of the Russian state corporation. Elon Musk reacted briefly. He published the logo of his company SpaceX. In response to this tweet, the history of SpaceX is clear. Proof that private business can be more effective than government agencies in literally any field of activity, even in such a high-tech and expensive field as space exploration. Current project SpaceX is now focusing on commercial flights to the International Space Station. This allows her to earn money for her future projects, its main customer, at the same time as NASA. These two structures have a valid contract implying mutually beneficial cooperation, at least until 2017. NASA sees SpaceX as its hope for the continued operation of the International Space Station. After all, in 2014, Russia announced its gradual withdrawal from the ISS project, and therefore there may be no one to deliver payloads and astronauts to the orbital station in a few years. The head of Roscosmos, Dmitry Rogozin, called SpaceX founder Elon Musk who chose a side in the conflict between Russia and Ukraine. The statement was made against the background of the success of the American company in the supply of equipment necessary for the deployment of a satellite system to provide internet access. Some residents of Ukraine are already showing screenshots and measurements on the web. The satellites delivered to Ukraine have already been launched. The screenshot shows the speed test service from Kyiv. The download speed varies from 100 to 200 megabytes per second. The firm SpaceX, the company Starlink, is the distribution of the internet fairy tales. We're told to us earlier that Musk is doing this in order to cover 6% of the planet, which are not covered by terrestrial fiber optic cables, to cover the space internet. So the clash between Russia and the West began when Russia implements its highest national interests on the territory of Ukraine. So what do you think? Will Elon Musk be able to stop Russia? Do let us know in the comment section. Alright guys, that's pretty much it for this video. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to smash the subscribe button and hit the bell icon to get the latest updates. Thanks for watching.